No. You felt there was, rightly, understandably, something to work on.
A little bit, yeah. I thought he would improve a little bit for the run, but I would have expected nothing else, in all honesty, because I'd imagine that the idea will be a campaign abroad over the
Middle Eastern
winter
kind of
months.
campaign, with lots of lucrative targets, absolutely. Yeah. You would have thought with connections and also the level of horse that he is, and the fact that he's only making his seasonal debut in pretty much October.
Yeah, and he in contrast to By the Book, is fairly easy to back, which again would be in line with that thought process.
Whereas Eden is relatively strong in the market. Now, I remember when he made a big impression as a 3-year-old winning the Fielden Stakes. He's now 6. But he proved right up to his very best last time when winning the Aston Park. But again, that was 132 days ago. He's clearly not the easiest to train.
No, I think with him the absence is less of a concern because it's just the way that he is campaigned. He clearly doesn't take back-to-back races all that well. He's had plenty of gaps in his career so far and in his form.
Absences, By the Book 295 days, Aden 132, Isle of Jura 461. In fact, only Burdett Road and Pinhole ran less than 100 days ago, so a fair few coming into this off the back of hiatuses. By the Book is 5-4 market leader and well backed for this listed contest. Aden 4-1, Isle of Jura at 11-2. Burdett Road is 15-2, A Merrick 11-1, Pinhole 11-1 as well, and Lion's Pride 20-1. As we get final thoughts with Martin and Lydia.
We've been talking about the strength of By the Book, who on pure form has something to find here. You heard Charlie Appleby talking about that. Oh, if you're watching Extra, sorry, you heard Charlie Appleby talking about that earlier. Instinctively, he thinks this horse is up to this standard. We've only seen him a couple of times in his life. Godolphin are persisting with him on his third start at just 4 years of age. But he's strong in the market, and there's clearly confidence behind him in the team. Yeah, very strong in the market. We were saying a couple of key questions here. How good is By the Book? How fit is Isle of Jura? And both of them are very, very relevant. The market is telling us pretty conclusively By the Book is much better than his rating of 95. And you can easily take a look at his form, particularly that Chelmsford defeat of Plage de Havre, who's now rated 103, and take a very high view and think that rating is a massive underestimation, and I suspect it probably is. His readiness, I don't think, is in much doubt. The readiness of Isle of Jura in a little bit more doubt, and I thought, looking at him in the paddock, like he would come on for the run, but I would have expected no less, because I think he'll be destined for a Middle East campaign, some big prizes abroad over the coming months, and this is a start point for Isle of Jura, so I don't think he'll be absolutely cherry ripe, but he is a very classy horse that might get away with a little bit of a lack of peak fitness. Well, there is that, isn't there, in that By the Book has got to prove himself up to listed standard. We know that Isle of Jura at his best is beyond that. He won the Group 2 Hardwick. That's the last time we saw him. Yeah, absolutely. Now, in between them in the market is Eden, who we know is a very talented horse. We know that he's got form this season, up to his rating when he won the Group 3 at Newbury in the spring. And although he's been off the track, his absence is less of a concern because his career is essentially that. He regularly has breaks between his races. He's always been that way. He's lightly raced for a horse of his age. The track suits him really well, and I think he will be in peak condition today, and I'd expect him to run very well. And how about Burdett Road, who won this race 12 months ago? I thought he might improve for the run this time. I would imagine he'll be back over hurdles at some point through the winter. He's got a lot to prove in terms of where he's at this moment in time, because his 2 flat starts so far this year have been very disappointing, but there is a little bit of strength behind him in the market. Last year we remember that they changed the tactic up in this race. He went forward, was ridden really positively and aggressively, so we'll see whether Pat Cosgrave tries to repeat that. Any chances of the others? Well, Lion's Pride's been a bit of a disappointment in his career. Pinhole will probably be suited by coming back to 1.5 miles on a decent surface. I think that's fair, but he does have a bit to prove at this level. And Merrick looks well. Yeah, looks well. Ready to go after his absence. Carl Burke, his trainer, says that he'll improve for the run, however, and would benefit from further.
Last time moving in. Set. And they're off. Racing over 1.5 miles for the Boyle Sports Smart Race Card Godolphin Stakes at listed level. And Burdett Road, who made all to win this race 12 months ago, bounces out in front, but will be taken on for the lead, it would appear. Isla Jura, red and white, even wider still a Merrick. Right in behind him is Eden in those maroon silks. And the pink cap for Pinhole. Second to last is Lions Pride as they make the turn. Back marker is By the Book, unbeaten in 2 starts so far. So Burdett Road does indeed have that lead once again at the top of the Rowley Mile. Also ran second, of course, in that dramatic champion hurdle at Cheltenham back in March. Burdett Road leads under Pat Cosgrave, length and a half. American second, horse who ran third in this race 12 months ago. Eden is going along in third. Last seen when taking that Group 3 at Newbury back in May. Isle of Jura is in fourth. It's his seasonal return today. Not seen since winning the Hardwick Stakes at Royal Ascot last year. Lions Pride is behind him. Lions Pride, who was third in this race 2 years ago. Pinhole is currently second to last, and By the Book remains at the rear of the field in the hands of William Buick. They continue up the home straight. They're about to race towards the final 3 parts of a mile. Burdett Road is still there. He leads by a length. American second and Clifford Lee. Eden's back in third. Isle of Jura is in fourth place. Then Lions Pride. Only a length then to Pinhole, and By the Book is still weighted with at the rear of the field. Racing their way towards the final half mile soon, and there's Burdett Road trying to lead this out from American second. Eden is back in third. Isle of Jura has gone okay to this point in fourth at a tongue lolling. Over there toward the left-hand side is By the Book. He's now beginning to make a bit of ground, moving by Lions Pride. Pinhole moving up towards the stand side as they line up across the course. They're about to race by the bushes with about 2.5 to go. Burdett Road shaking up in front. In the red and white, Isle of Jura joins in. Pinhole is now ridden for more. Lions Pride trying to make the gap between them. To the left-hand side of Eden, and wider still is By the Book. A Merrick has dropped away into the dip inside the final furlong and a half, and it's now Lions Pride who's grabbed the lead under Rab Havlin and quickens on the rising ground. It's Lions Pride by 3 lengths now to By the Book and Isle of Jura. They're battling out second place, but storming away. Lions Pride will win the Godolphin Stakes. Lions Pride the winner. Isle of Jura second, By the Book third, and in fourth was Eden.
Well, he's threatened that many times, but he's never actually put it together. Lions Pride has won the listed Godolphin Stakes at 20 to 1. Yes. Rab Havlin on board for John and Thady Gosden. He's routed them. Isle of Jura, returning from a long absence, the Hardwick Stakes winner, is second for George Scott and Billy Loughnane, and third is By the Book for William Buick and Charlie Appleby, that horse meeting the first defeat of his career. But Lions Pride has gone and routed them. And I said to you, Martin, we were talking about which horses were travelling well in the race, and I said, oh, and Lions Pride is travelling. They were both saying, oh, but he always does that. And then...
Well, where has this been for the last 2 years, Lions Pride? Because we, at the very start of his career, I remember being pretty excited about what he might be able to achieve and go on to do, and then the last 2 years happened, 4 or 5 runs in between, and you think, oh, it's Lions Pride again, yeah, we're disappointed, and then up he rocks and pops in this performance. But it's clearly a very smart effort, isn't it? Even if you can look at others maybe slightly underperforming to their best, and in the case of By the Book, maybe not. In fact, I'd say By the Book, there was an expectancy with the betting beforehand rather than a confidence. It was the price that he's gone off. It was like, whichever way you spin it, this is a good performance from a horse that has threatened it on a few occasions.
From nowhere!
Disappointed, because were it not for his SP, then you would be saying what a good run off the back of a long absence, and a horse having the third start of his career. So I think it's only right to the horse that you view it through that prism rather than the betting market.
So what's Eden's excuse?
I don't know, really. I mean, he didn't find anything off the bridle. He's clearly a horse that's been hard to train, and he's had a penalty to carry. And for whatever reason on the day there wasn't any response. He's travelled well through it and found nothing and being looked after in the end.
Isle of Jura, you've got to be satisfied with, haven't you?
I think very pleased. I think that's a really good run. He definitely gave the impression to me beforehand that he would improve for it. He's run to a pretty high level coming back off a long absence, and I think the signs are from this that he should build on it and hopefully can get back to the levels that he was at. It's not definitive that he will, but I think it's promising.
And there's the winner, Lion's Pride, who's put it all together. Finally.